All right, let's just jump right in. It feels like every single conversation about education these days, it always circles back to one thing: artificial intelligence. So the big question is this a threat to learning as we know it, or is it maybe the most powerful tool we've ever gotten our hands on? Let's break it all down.
Look, the thing is, this isn't some far-off future problem. Not at all. AI is right here, right now. It's in the backpack of pretty much every student, on their phones, on their laptops. So the question isn't if it's going to be used, it's how. And maybe even more importantly, who's writing the rules? Who gets to decide what good use even looks like?
So to really get a handle on this whole thing, we've got to understand the engine that's driving this revolution. What in the world is a GPT anyway?
Okay, so GPT stands for, ready for this? Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Yeah, it's a mouthful, I know. But here's the key thing you need to grasp. These models, they don't think. They don't understand things the way a person does. A great way to think about it, like some educators put it, is that they're just incredibly sophisticated pattern matchers. All they're doing is predicting the next most likely word based on a mind-boggling amount of text they were trained on. It's more like statistical magic, not actual consciousness.
And would you just look at the speed of this development? It's wild. We went from a relatively simple model back in 2018 to the super talented, multimodal GPT-4 in less than 5 years. That incredible acceleration, that's exactly why schools are scrambling to keep up. The tech is just evolving way faster than anyone can write the policies for it.
Okay, so you have this incredibly powerful, fast-moving tech that's suddenly everywhere. How on earth are educators supposed to manage it? Well, some are getting ahead of it by creating guidebooks. Let's take a look at one of the most practical approaches I've seen.
One of the best models for this actually comes from Washington State's public schools. Their whole approach is about keeping humans right at the center of learning. It follows this really simple, elegant philosophy. It all starts with a human, with their curiosity, their questions. Then, technology, AI, is used as a tool to explore or brainstorm. But, and this is important, it's not a replacement for thinking. And most crucially, it always ends with a human. A person has to reflect, synthesize, create, and really own the final work. Human, AI, human.
Now, to make that philosophy really practical in a classroom, they've broken it down into these 5 levels of assistance. And this gives teachers so much clarity. I mean, instead of just saying, don't cheat, a teacher can now say, for any assignment, okay, class, this is a level 2 task. That means you can use AI to brainstorm ideas, but the writing, that has to be 100% your own. Or maybe it's a level 4 task, where co-writing with the AI is actually part of the assignment.
You see, the crucial point here is clarity. Everybody's on the same page. Students know the rules of the road for every single assignment, and teachers have a real framework for bringing AI into the classroom without giving up on the learning goals. The student is always in the driver's seat, deciding when and how to use the tool.
But frameworks like that, they're really just the beginning. When you get to the university level, the conversation gets way more complex. I mean, they're facing some really fundamental questions about the future of knowledge itself.
This quote from Ireland's Higher Education Authority, man, it just gets right to the heart of it. This isn't just some tech problem that the IT department can solve with a new filter or some software. No, it's a challenge to the very way we teach, the way we assess, and how we even define what it means to be a scholar.
And this really lays out the fundamental choice that institutions are facing right now. It's like a fork in the road. Do they go down the reactive path, investing in this endless cat-and-mouse game of AI detection, which, by the way, often just creates a climate of suspicion? Or do they take the proactive path? Do they actually redesign assignments to focus on the skills AI can't replicate? Things like in-class debates, personal reflections, or hands-on projects.
And the challenges here, they are immense. There's a very real fear that foundational skills, I'm talking about writing and critical thinking, could seriously weaken. There's a huge equity concern, too. I mean, what if premium AI tools give some students an unfair advantage? That gap between the haves and have-nots could get even wider. And honestly, across the board, it seems like both faculty and students feel like they're trying to build this plane while they're already flying it.
So, after all that, where does this leave us? We've looked at the tech, we've looked at some practical guides, and we've touched on the huge strategic questions. Let's try and pull it all together and see what the big takeaways are.
So it seems like 4 crucial points really stand out. First, AI is a fantastic assistant, but it's a terrible master. It just can't replace real human critical thinking. Second, ambiguity is the enemy. Clear guidelines are absolutely essential. Third, the smart move seems to be redesigning education for this new world, not just trying to police the technology. And finally, we have to be really intentional about designing for equity, Because if we don't, AI will just make the existing inequalities even worse.
And that kind of brings us to our final thought here. For all the talk about artificial intelligence, maybe the ultimate goal is to use these tools to double down on what makes us human: our creativity, our critical thinking, our ability to ask really good, meaningful questions. The technology is here, that's a fact. But the real work? Well, that's just beginning.